Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm starting you guys off on a different type of setting because for today, I have gotten so many questions asking me to see my entire eyeshadow palette collection. I want to go ahead and start off by saying that I do work at a full-time job. Well, I mean, at least I did with everything going on right now. Hopefully I can go back to it, but all these eyeshadow palettes are not to brag by any means at all. I have worked very hard for all these eyeshadow palettes. I've collected them over the last couple years of doing YouTube, so please note this is not bragging by any means whatsoever. I did have a couple of these palettes sent to me in PR, and then some of them were sent by some amazing subscribers, which I will definitely note to you guys which ones are which. But this is just me trying to show you guys my entire collection because I got so many requests saying, please show us what you have. So I figured for once, why not show you guys my entire collection? Plus, it gives me a makeup break at the moment. My right eye is just a little swollen and has a little bit of a rash from a couple days ago doing the BoxyCharm video. So I'm trying to give it a rest. So yeah, let's just go ahead and dive into this. All right, so just so you guys know, this is not in any way, shape, or form what my favorite palette is. Like, I'll tell you which one is, which one isn't. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start, and we're gonna ignore my horrible-esque nails right now because, I mean, it's been almost a month since I got them done, so just bear with me. All right, so one of the first palettes is the Glam Light Pizza Slice palette. This is a Veggie Lover palette right here. I got this in my mystery box that I bought from Glamlight back in November, and I did a video on this versus the pizza one. Like, I wanted to, like, versus the meat lover one. I want to see which one is better, but this is the eyeshadow palette. I absolutely love this palette. It is so beautiful, but when I actually compared it to the pepperoni one or the meat lover one, I believe that's what it is, I actually like the meat lover one more than I like this one. There's nothing bad about this. I love the green and yellow. That's one of my favorite colors to go for, but I don't know, that one won the battle. But I really do love Glamlight Cosmetics. Their aesthetics, their packaging is just everything. It is so freaking cute. I love this palette. I love Glamlight. All right, so the next one, this is the Meat Lover palette. This is, again, an individual slice that came in my mystery box. So this is the eyeshadow palette inside. I really loved this color, chicken and ham and bacon. They were so beautiful. The mattes are very pigmented. They definitely have a different look in person than they do on the actual eye. Like this right here is like a brighter than what I thought it'd be, and this has more pigment, but they blended out so beautifully. Such a great, cute little eyeshadow palette. Individual slices. Right, so the next one we have is the Amarizi Anastasia Beverly Hill eyeshadow palette. Now, I did like this eyeshadow palette. I'm sorry, I like to keep the inserts because I feel like it keeps the shadows intact. I really did like this palette. I thought it was super cute. I loved the color Resi right here in Cupcake and Liddy that I got into. These are some beautiful colors, and I remember the packaging being so stunning. The next palette we have is from Winky Lux. I actually got sent this in PR. This is part of a whole PR kit that they sent over my way. And when I opened the palette, I thought it was really cute. Definitely not one of my favorite palettes. It's a very soft glam. I haven't really played with it much since getting in PR, but it is a really cute aesthetic, and I really do like the little cats on it. But yeah. All right, so one of the next palettes is from Lunar Beauty. This is the Moon Spell eyeshadow palette. I love this eyeshadow palette. I had so much fun when I did the video on it, and if you guys haven't seen it, I will go ahead and link it right over here for you guys. But this was such a fun eyeshadow palette. It's like having your own book of shadows, and when you open up, you have such cool colors. I really love the color Marnie, which I kept saying her name, it's Marnie. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. But I really loved Marnie. I love Mary, Samantha. I really like the name Hermione, I really liked Hermione and Winifred. These are such beautiful eyeshadow palettes. Like, this palette was so much fun to do a look off of. I was absolutely in love with this look. I love the black lip. Like, the whole aesthetic of this entire video is probably still one of my absolute favorites. All right, so the next eyeshadow palette, this is the Enchanted 24 eyeshadow palette from the Makeup Institute. I actually did not purchase this palette. Mikey actually sent it my way a while back. I just haven't gotten around to play with it. But when you open up on the inside, the colors are so beautiful. A very gorgeous eyeshadow palette, and I know that Mikey really wanted me to play around with this. So the colors that I'm seeing drawn to me are like the orange and the yellow and the pink and the green and the blue. Like, I'm definitely gravitating towards this. So I'm definitely gonna be playing around with this very soon because it is such a beautiful eyeshadow palette. All right, so this next palette right here is from BoxyCharm. This is their Hello Charmer eyeshadow palette. I actually really liked this eyeshadow palette. I thought it was absolutely stunning. The shadows were there. The pressed glitters, seriously, are everything. I could not stop playing with I could not stop playing with these shadows. Like, they were so freaking beautiful. They swatched well. And they created such a beautiful eye look. Well, that's not a good swatch. We're going to ignore that swatch right there. But I loved the pressed glitters and I loved the look I created with it. And I was really surprised at the quality that BoxyCharm was actually able to deliver. Like, who would have thought a subscription service would make a really good eyeshadow palette? All right, so this next one is from Milk Cosmetics. This is the Rust eyeshadow palette. I really, really, really love this eyeshadow palette. Now, it's not my favorite one from Milk Cosmetics. That's my Gemini palette. But this is right up there to be one of the top ones that I love from this brand. The quality of the shadows are just unbelievable. The mattes blend so beautifully. The shimmers are there. It is such an aesthetically pleasing eyeshadow palette. I've been so in love with Milk Cosmetics. Like, I know this is an indie brand. They're quite expensive, but I would pay every nickel and dime for their palettes because they are just worth it. The palettes are just absolutely stunning. I love this so much. All right, the next one we have is this Bloodlust from Jeffree Star Cosmetics. First off, the shape of this palette is just so intriguing. I can never get over like the shape of it. And like when you open it up, like I said, I like to keep things in their boxes if I can. It's a velvet palette and it's just so soft. It's a very unique looking type of palette, not gonna lie. Like, it makes me want to play like pool or something like that on top of it. But I really do like the aesthetics. And when you open it up, I was blown away of how amazing these shadows were. I really do love this palette. I know some people out there had a lot of mixed feelings about it because they didn't really like this color scheme, didn't think it was fully purple, but I thought it was truly amazing. Like, I love Bile Serpent right there. Such a beautiful color. And mixing it with Blood Queen, I created such a beautiful look, and then topping it off with these right here. Stunning. Really, really love this palette. I love the theme of it, and I'm so glad I was able to get my hands on this, especially since I've been there since like 5 a.m. in the morning. Like, I'm so grateful that I love it. All right, and the next shadow is Meant to Be from ColourPop. This is their pastel eyeshadow palette. I really, really loved this eyeshadow palette. I thought the colors were so beautiful. They were so pastel, but they blended out so beautifully, and they created such a beautiful, soft spring look. Like the color Mint Tea and the color Mojito Mama, like, so beautiful. It had such pigment to it and it had such a payoff. I really love the look that I created using this eyeshadow palette, and it's probably one of my top favorites from ColourPop. Like, it's right up there. And next we have the Disney Frozen 2 Elsa collection. Now, I actually bought the whole kit together, but it came with the eyeshadow palette and all the like lipsticks and lip glosses and pressed glitter. But the palette itself, I remember being not the biggest fan of this palette, but the color Winter was so beautiful, mixing it with this little flurry right there. I was trying to do something with these two colors and it just was a massive fail. But I did really like this palette, but I thought the Anna one was just a better quality in my personal opinion. All right, next we have the Anna collection. So the eyeshadow palette really reminded me a lot of Tangle. It didn't really have the Frozen 2 vibes until I actually saw it. Then I was like, I can kind of see it matching Anna's dress, but I really, really loved the look that I created. I thought it was just so beautiful using these colors right here. I was so blown away by the quality of it and how much I loved like the little Arendelle pressed glitter. I didn't really like it as much because pressed glitters from ColourPop really suck in my personal opinion. I do not think that they're the best quality, but I really do like this eyeshadow palette. I think the colors are so beautiful. I think it's a great overall theme together. All right, the next palette I have is from Too Faced Cosmetics. This is the Palm Spring collection. I actually received this in a BoxyCharm box, but I haven't played around with it because right as I got this eyeshadow palette, as pretty as I think that it is, it came out just in time for Naked Tutorials to come out and say that she was transgender. And I won't forget that the owner of Too Faced, his sister, actually kind of made fun of that. And so I was like, ooh, it really turned me off to the brand. So that's why I didn't really play around with this eyeshadow palette. It's pretty and you can create some cool summer festive vibes with this. But the owner being kind of shitty, I was like, no, thank you. Now, these two palettes right here, my sister actually got for me for Christmas. This is the Day of the Dead eyeshadow palette collection from Milk Cosmetics. This is the Living and this is the Dead palette. I really butchered that name so bad when I did my video that I was laughing so hard at myself. So I will go ahead and link that video for you guys as well. So if anyone wants a good laugh at my pronunciation, please, by all means, go watch it. But these eyeshadow palettes, I have got to say, they were so vibrant and full of life. Like, this is the Life palette. Like, the colors on this are just so stunning and beautiful. Like, I love the way that Melt does their palettes. Like, you can go this way, or this way. Like they literally do it in such a cohesive theme for you to create your eyeshadow look. I love their aesthetics. I love Milk Cosmetics so much. They put so much detail and time and thought into their shadows. I really, really, really loved this eyeshadow palette. I was so in love with this one. Now this one I had a little bit of a trouble with only because it's dark colors and I'm not the best at using dark colors. It's something that I'm still working on, trying to improve my skills when it comes to it, but it's such a stunning palette. Like this one right here, Noche and Turna. Such a beautiful color, especially with the Dulo. Oh, see, look, there you go again, butchering it. But these ones are so pretty. I love it. I just wish I could pronounce the names properly. All right, so this is the Me, Myself, and Mama Mitchell eyeshadow palette. Now, I was actually sent this my way from Mikey. And this is one of the first eyeshadow palettes that he had ever sent me. And this is what started our whole entire friendship. And from this palette, I actually did a video where I recreated his look. And I really, really loved how it turned out. And he's one of the main reasons why I switched my eyeshadow technique, where I started with my inner corner and worked my way out. But oh my God, I love this eyeshadow palette. Like, I still can't figure out the whole like magnetic situation, because it's supposed to be like magnetic where it stands up like that. I still can't really figure it out. But the theme of this palette and the color scheme, like, oh my gosh, like it is there. It is such a beautiful color scheme. And it just, the shadows were so buttery. The mattes blended out beautifully. And I just really, really love the aesthetics of this entire palette right here, because you pretty much get the whole rainbow. Like if you guys are looking for like a rainbow palette, definitely one that I recommend. All right, so this is from e.l.f. Cosmetics. This is the Earth and Ocean eyeshadow palette. I really love this palette because I love the different themings that you can have. You can have an all blue side and all green and gold side. I remember really loving this palette. This one, like right here, if you guys look at that, like, oh my gosh, that shine. These colors are just so beautiful. I was so kind of surprised at how good the quality of e.l.f. Cosmetics are, even though those ones are really, really lackluster. But I remember really liking this eyeshadow palette. Now, was it my favorite palette from like drugstore? No, I'll get into those later. But I really did like this eyeshadow palette. It was only 14 bucks. All right, so next we have Millennial Pink from Melt Cosmetics. While I really, really love the packaging, I think the packaging is so aesthetically pleasing. I love the texture, like ASMR moment. I really, really like this aesthetics. When I used the colors inside, I was very underwhelmed with the actual eyeshadow palette. While I liked it, it's definitely not one of my favorites from Milk Cosmetics. And it's one of the first times I actually told people, don't go buy this palette. I didn't think it was worth your buck, and I still stand by that. It's a pretty palette, but just you can find these shadows in other palettes, and I just didn't think it was worth the price point for the quality that I got. And I was really disappointed, because as much as I love Milk Cosmetics, everyone has to have a flop every once in a while, and I definitely thought this was it. It's pretty, but definitely not one that I gravitate to that often. All right, so this is from IT Cosmetics. This is their Naturally Pretty eyeshadow palette. Now, I actually got this for Christmas, but I don't necessarily know if it was for me. I think it was for my sister, but she did go ahead and pass it my way. I really do like the packaging. It's very, very soft. It's like touching like a pillow right here. Super soft, but it's a very nude palette with like the tiniest eyeshadows in here. So I haven't played around with it. I got it and I was like, oh, that's really pretty. Eventually I'll dive into it and play around with it, but I just haven't played around with it at all, so I have no idea if it's good quality or not. But yeah. All right, so these two right here, these are from Juvia's Place, and this is the Violets by Juvia and the Berries by Juvia's. I've received both these palettes in my Trend Mood box. I think it was volume 2, and this was my first time ever playing around with any Juvia palettes right there. And I was very, very underwhelmed by the entire collection. I thought the shadows were not that great. I didn't really care for the quality of the shadows, so I was rather disappointed by it. But I know that you guys have told me to give them a chance and to try out the other ones. Like, there are other ones that are better quality than these two. So that's something I'm definitely going to check out. But yeah, I remember being excited to get these, but then when I tried them, I was like, oh. All right, so the next eyeshadow palette is from Midas Cosmetics. This is a Smoky Glow collaboration. I do really like this palette. I think it's a really beautiful aesthetic palette. I thought the shadows performed very well. They're very matte, they're very blendable, and I remember being in love with the content color right there. I really like the nudity, the colleague, and the rose color were such a pretty color, and I had a lot of fun with this eyeshadow palette. All right, so this is the Zuiva Cocoa Blend eyeshadow palette. I just used this the other day from my BoxyCharm video. And while it's a pretty nude eyeshadow palette, I thought the shimmers are very underwhelming. I didn't care for them as much. I had to use a Stila Glitter and Glow Topper to help create my look. The mattes are very blendable, The mattes are very pigmented. They blend it out very, very easily. And this right here caused irritation on my eye. And I don't necessarily know if it was the palette or me doing my look 3 different times trying to create the basic natural look. It was just a mess of this palette. So it's not one I'm really going to gravitate back towards, especially since I have one that's similar to like this in many other forms. Like my ColourPop Glowing Coconuts palette. It's a very beautiful nude palette and it's for half the cost. So this is nice, but definitely not worth the price point. All right, so next we have the Game of Thrones palette from Urban Decay. I was so excited when this eyeshadow palette was rolling out because I'm the biggest fan of Game of Thrones. I'm so in love with this. When I saw this, I was like, I have to get it. And when you open it up, it has like the cool little mirror with a saying inside. You pull it out right here. What I love about this, you have the different palettes right here. You can create so many different looks. It's such a beautiful theme. Like literally you can create so many beautiful looks. I remember the video I did. When I look back on the quality of it, oh God, it's a shitty quality video. And the makeup is definitely not the best. It's something I'll definitely have to revisit, but it's such a cool eyeshadow palette. And then when you actually open it up right here, you take the book, you open it up. Oh, it's the throne. Like how sick is that? This is such a cool eyeshadow palette. Definitely a very expensive eyeshadow palette because you're paying for a collector's item, but it was something that was so worth having. Like so worth having. All right, so these are all my e.l.f. bite-sized eyeshadow palettes. There are $3 a piece. I haven't gotten around to play around with them at all just because other things had come up, and by the time I was going to do a video, everything kind of happened with the world, so I just never went around to do it. But I definitely want to create something out of it because these are really beautiful. They're $3 a piece for 4 eyeshadows. Like you really can't beat that. I've seen some great tutorials, people using this, so I'm hoping to dive into it within the next week or so. But yeah. All right, so this is Lunar Beauty's or Manny MUA's Life is a Drag eyeshadow palette. Now, I know that this is supposed to be featured in BoxyCharm this month, which, by the way, thank you guys so much. You guys told me it's supposed to be in the premium box. Well, hopefully it's in there, but because I didn't get a choice. But I love the way that this looks. It is so freaking pretty. And then when you open it up, you have the eyeshadows right here. You can create a very neutral eye look or a very colorful eye look, or you can kind of mix and match, and I really like that factor. Now, I didn't buy this palette. I did receive it in the Lunar Beauty mystery box they did back in November for Black Friday. So I haven't played around with it, but I'm excited to do a beautiful look because I want to create something for spring, and I'm sure this is going to be in the BoxyCharm box. So if it is, I'm definitely going to keep this one for myself and do a beautiful look and give that other one away. But yeah. So pretty. All right, next we have the Milani Gilded Gold eyeshadow palette. I really love this eyeshadow palette. The colors of this are just so beautiful. They performed so well. I really loved the color right here. This is the color Dior and Ultra Gilded. Like so pretty. So pretty. And then the color right here next to it, the Eden, I loved the look that I created. It's such an aesthetically pleasing palette, and it's so affordable. I think this is like, now I think it's like $14 on Ulta and at your local drugstore. Such a beautiful eyeshadow palette. Definitely want to go check out. Next, we have the Jeffree Star Alien palette. Y'all, I did not have this palette. I was missing it from my collection, and when I found out it was going to be discontinued, I was like, no, I got so upset. And then they literally threw this in the mystery box for the holidays. I was so surprised they threw it in the $60 mystery box. Like, how insane was it? Most people think that you get this like in the big deluxe one, but the fact that it was in the smallest like $60 one, yo, that is the shit. I was so ecstatic that I got it. And when you actually play with the palette, oh my God, the palette is just so pretty. It's such a beautiful palette. Now, I did play around with this. I did a video where I recreated Lethal Kitten's or Brianna's eye look using this palette, and oh my God, that was a huge flop, by the way. I'll link it up here if you guys want a good laugh. But the palette itself, absolutely stunning. I love it. All right, so the next one is from Storybook Cosmetics. This is a fairy tale palette. Now, I actually received like 2 or 3 copies of this in my BoxyCharm boxes, and they reached out to me and said, oh, we're going to send you something else, which they did like late January, early February. I finally got the Natasha Denona like love blush, whatever situation was. But this is the eyeshadow palette right here. Now, when I got this back then, I did not think it was pretty, and I still don't think it's really that pretty at all, but I did hold on to it just because hoarder over here. but I don't really think it's the prettiest color scheme. Now, I know that there's a lot of issues surrounding this right here, whether this is a fake, whether this is a dupe. Did BoxyCharm just create the eyeshadows on the inside, but Storybrooke send them the actual like packaging? Like, there's so much controversy that was surrounding this particular eyeshadow palette, or like the brand being inside BoxyCharm. So I didn't really play around with it because I know that this brand says that they're made over in the United States. On the back, it says that they're made over in China. So it's like two different situations. So I wasn't too keen on what was really happening. I know there's two sides to every story. I'd have a hard time believing that a brand would want to represent a fake product that's not theirs, because if the quality is not there, you're never going to want to shop that brand. And I don't think BoxyCharm would do that, but I never really gave this a go because I just wasn't sure about it. And I know a lot of people didn't really care for it also, so maybe I'll actually go on the website and check out the other ones because it's a really cool concept, just one that I just never really played around with. All right, so next I have the Urban Decay On the Run palette. Now, I've never featured this on my channel. I bought this back in December just as like a, hey, I can do like a quick little tutorial with it. I never played around with it. This is the eyeshadow colors right here. Typical Allie goes for greens and yellows. Shocker. But I saw this and I was like, oh, this is cute. It was like on the display over at Sephora for like, I think like 20 bucks. Kind of expensive for eyeshadows in my personal opinion, especially since Urban Decay is not really known for good eyeshadow quality. So this is one I'm just going to play around with at some point, but yeah. All right, next we have the ABH collection. This is volume 3. Now, I did not buy the first two because I thought they were so expensive, because this is a $60 palette. Really pricey, but oh my god, are the colors beautiful. I really loved the look that I created when I did this palette, and it's such a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing palette, especially if you are a makeup artist or someone who's trying to dive deep into makeup and have lots of colors. This is definitely a palette that I highly recommend. On the pricier side, but they do offer Afterpay, but damn, what a gorgeous palette. All right, next we have the Morphe 35i Icy Fantasy palette. This is such an aesthetically pleasing palette. I love it. Now, the pastel colors were a little bit hard to blend out just because it is pastel, so they do tend to blend themselves away. You kind of have to really pack it in there and softly buff it. But I really liked the look that I came up with. I thought it was really pretty. It's very, very soft, very beautiful. It's very blown out look. It's not my favorite Morphe palette, but it's one that I'm definitely glad that I have because I don't really have that many pastel palettes. Pastel is just not really a color that I go for, and I'm trying really hard to get into other things, so I'm happy that I have this. All right, so next we have the Bobbi Brown In a Flash eyeshadow palette. I have never featured this on my channel yet. I got it for Christmas from my wonderful Aunt Julie. She was so sweet and spoiled me with it. I definitely want to play around with it because the colors are just, oh my gosh, like the colors are beautiful. Definitely very beautiful, but it is a very, very expensive palette. When I get a really expensive palette like that, I get very scared and hesitant to play around with it. Like, I know it's stupid of me to say that, but it's just because I have a hard time wanting to spend the money on myself. So when someone else does, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to make sure that it's like worth their buck, you know. But this color right here, ooh, that is beautiful. Oh, I do love me some duochrome shadows. All right, so next we have another palette. This is from the Makeup Institution. I actually received this from Mikey a while back as well. I mean, Mikey sends me so much stuff at this point. But this is the eyeshadow palette. I did play around with it once, but I did it off camera. I just kind of swatched the colors in my hand to see how I liked it because I was really intrigued by this color right here and this yellow right here. Both are beautiful colors, and Mikey just raves about the Makeup Institute, especially like he also raves about Hank and Henry, so he's like, you need to get into the brand. But I do think they're really aesthetically pleasing. I just didn't really dive too much into the actual palette itself because only two colors really stood out to me. The rest I'm kind of like, oh, they're pretty, they just weren't like the prettiest ones I want to play with. All right, so next we have the Jeffree Star Thirsty palette. This palette was also discontinued the same time as the Alien palette was. I received this in a mystery box, I want to say back for Black Friday was the mystery box that I got this in. I haven't played around with this palette because I just want to admire it so much because it's such a beautiful palette. Great in time for spring and summer looks. Like these colors are so pretty. But now that I know it's a collector's item, I'm really hesitant to jump around and play around with it because I don't want to like fall fully in love with it and then never be able to get it again when I hit pan. Which is kind of hard for me to do, to hit pan at this point, but it is such a beautiful palette. I know that this is one of Paige's favorite palettes right here. She's in love with this, and I definitely should try it at some point, which I definitely will. All right, next we have another Glam Light palette. This is their Cake palette. I really, really love this palette right here. I think it's so freaking cool. I love the packaging. Like I cannot get over the packaging. I love stuff that I love brands that go out of their way to make like the coolest packaging because then I never want to get rid of it. And then when you actually open up the palette itself, like these colors are so pretty. Like, you can create such a beautiful look using these palettes. I love the names of it. I love the looks I created with it. I really love the color cinnamon. I was so in love with this and carrot. Oh my god. And guava, such a beautiful color. Like, if I swatch these for you guys, like, for reals. Such a beautiful palette. Now, the only thing I will say that they definitely missed the mark on is just I wish they would have had it smell like a sweet vanilla smell, like a cake smell. And I get why they don't do it, so it keeps it safe for everybody. Because I know a lot of people out there are sensitive to smell, so I can understand that and appreciate it. But damn, that'd have been so cool. Next, I have this Ace Beauty Scarlet Dust palette. I received this in Boxy Charm a while back, and it's a pretty palette. Not one that I gravitate to that often. Very pretty, very warm tone. You can create some beautiful orangey pink looks with this, but yeah. Next, I have a little Makeup Geek palette. Now, this was a subscriber bought palette. She picked out these shades for me that she thought would be the coolest shades for me to really play around with. She knows how much I love greens and purples and blues, and I thought it was so pretty. And I definitely did play around with these on my own time because I thought they're really pretty. And I tried to create like a cohesive look in the palette, but I struggled with it. But these are the shadows swatched right there. Now, Makeup Geek is definitely on the pricier side. They do have stuff available over at Target, but I just have a hard time going on their website and buying their palettes just because they are so expensive. I was so shocked when I got my P.O Box. It's probably one of the first things I got my P.O Box. I was like, wait, what? So freaking cool. All right, next we have the Mini Controversy palette. This is definitely not one of my favorite palettes at all. While the design is really beautiful, has my last name. While the designs are really beautiful, the color scheme is just not one that I really gravitate to. Like, it's cute, but they're just not colors that I necessarily gravitate to every single day. And there are people out there who are truly in love with it, and I'm so happy for you. I'm just really glad that I got it because I loved watching this series, and I was so happy that I got my hands on it. And this was a hassle to get. I was literally at the Morphe store at 4 a.m. in the morning to make sure I got the entire collection. Then we have this bad boy. This is the actual Conspiracy palette. And while I love the packaging, I can really appreciate that. I'm just not the biggest fan of the color scheme on the inside. It's pretty, but it's definitely not one of my favorite Jeffree Star palettes at all. Just colors I don't necessarily go to every single day. Like, you can create some pretty looks, like I know some people out there have, but I try to create a look. I don't really like how it turned out looking back on it, but I'm just really grateful that I got it because it's a really cool collector's item, and I know that so many people wanted to get their hands on it, and I know it came back in stock, but they didn't ever tell anybody it came back in stock. But definitely a cool collector's item. Next, we have the good old James Charles collaboration with Morphe. I actually really appreciate this eyeshadow palette. I know a lot of people out there have issues when it comes to James Charles. I just look at the palette for itself. I really appreciate the eyeshadow palette. It's really affordable. It's the entire like rainbow in here. You can create so many different looks with it, like so many different looks. I created such a beautiful look on my own, playing around with some yellows and blues together to try them out. And this blue in particular, I use that a lot for underwater line. Like when I try to do like a yellow eye look, I use this blue and I do like my underwater line. Like, it is such a really pretty palette. I'm just glad that I have it in my collection. All right, next we have another Glam Light palette. This is the Paint palette. I created my notorious awful paint palette video where I did this horrendous look, but I was able to redeem myself, and I did a video just this past week redoing my entire eyeshadow look using this awesome palette right here. I love this eyeshadow palette just also for the mere fact that I love Bob Ross, and this gives me Bob Ross vibes. It is such a cool palette, definitely a rainbow theme. You can create, again, so many beautiful looks. I created this beautiful rainbow look right here that I'm so proud of. I'm so proud of myself, and I really love this palette. I mean, if you guys can't tell, I love color, and I have so many like rainbow-esque palettes, but I love having a different rainbow palettes because you just don't know. Like, this yellow might be different from the one that's in James Charles or the one that's different in Emma Mitchell. Like, you just don't know, and it's so nice to have a little versatile. Plus, it's so cool. Like, whenever I hold it, I'm like painting happy trees. I get so excited. Next, we have the Morphe 35V Stunning Vibes eyeshadow palette. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really remember much about this palette. It's pretty. I remember I did a look using it, but it's not one that really like stands out to me. It's kind of a basic Morphe eyeshadow palette in my personal opinion. I believe that video did well. I honestly don't remember, but all right, next we have the Morphe 39S Such a Gem eyeshadow palette. Now, I will always remember this eyeshadow palette very distinctly because this is one of the first times I've filmed in front of Corey. Normally, Corey would be like in a different room, but this time I actually filmed it in front of him, and I really loved this eyeshadow palette. I loved playing around with it. It's such a beautiful purple palette. I don't really know if I created a good look on it because it's been so long since I've seen that video, but this is such a beautiful palette, especially if you're looking for some really purples and pinks and some pretty palettes, like soft glam, but you could also build up to be very vibrant. This is one that I definitely recommend. Alright, so the next palette is the KKW collaboration with Mario. This is one of the first and only palettes I actually own from KKW because I find the brand to be kind of boring. But this is the eyeshadow palette right here. It's a pretty eyeshadow palette. I created a beautiful look using the gold and the blue and the brown. The only reason why I got this palette actually was because Robbie Chrissy did a review on it and she liked it. She created beautiful looks. So I was like, oh, I'll try it too. Played around with it. I liked it, but I haven't really played around with it since. All right, next we have the Jackie Aina ABH collaboration. Now, I know a lot of people feel a certain way about Jackie Aina, but I'm very, very upfront when I say that I'm here to do a job and review a palette and not look at the person whose name is on the palette. So that's exactly what I did. And I loved this eyeshadow palette. I thought it was very beautiful. I thought the shadows performed very, very well. The packaging is beautiful, and it just created such a beautiful, stunning fall vibe palette. I really liked what I created, and I love this palette. And it's probably one of my top up there ABH palettes. So we have the Riviera palette from Honest Coffee Beverly Hills. I actually really like this palette, and I love the look that I created. I created like a really cool, like on the vote vibe of eyeshadow look. I like the color scheme because you have some blues and some yellows, but hot pink and purples, and it's such a really pretty palette. Such a pretty fun palette. Next, we have the Sultry palette from Honest Coffee Beverly Hills. Now, I have a special attachment to this palette for two reasons. One, this is one of the first reviews that I did when I came back to YouTube, was filming this palette right here. And the second is that I got it for my birthday from Kayla. So I thought this was such a cool birthday gift. This is one of the first palettes that a friend had ever gifted me. Even though it might not be the prettiest palette now, even though it's like neutral, I will always have a special place in my heart for this palette, for sure. This right here is the I Heart Revolution Tasty Chili palette. Now, when I played around with this palette, I thought it was cool because I liked the theming of it, but it just never screamed chili palette to me. Like, it never screamed chili. It was a cool palette. I have fun playing with it, but it's definitely not one of my favorites from them. Next is the Milani Gilded Jade palette. I really love this eyeshadow palette. I thought it was so pretty. I loved the greens in here. So you guys can already tell I have a thing for greens and yellows. I just think they complement my eyes so well. But I really, really liked this eyeshadow palette. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and I thought I created such a beautiful look when I played around with this palette. All right, next we have the Natasha Denona Sunrise eyeshadow palette. This is actually sent my way for a review, and it is a really expensive eyeshadow palette, but I did a dupe version of it with the Alter Ego Aurora palette, and this is a $65 palette, I believe, and that one was like a $16 palette. This so underperformed the way that I thought it was going to. I thought this was going to be so magnificent, and when I actually played around with it, I was like, oh, that's it. Really disappointed with it, but I mean, it's a Natasha Denona. I think it's one of the only ones I have, or I think I have one more. I'm not entirely sure. I know I don't shop her brand because I just find it to be too overpriced for the quality that they give. All right, next we have the Lunar Beauty Greek Goddess color palette right here. This is one of the first eyeshadow palettes I've ever owned from Lunar Beauty, and I was so in love with this palette. I love the look that I created. The shimmers are just top notch. They are beautiful. The mattes perform so well. I really, really do love Lunar Beauty, and this is such a cool, aesthetically pleasing palette for sure. All right, next we have Miss Jaclyn Hill and the Vault. Now, I'm not going to open up every single shadow in here. I do think that they're really pretty, but these are shadows that I haven't really played that much with, especially since there was such a huge controversy that surrounded the Vault and some messed up shadows. I got it back when I met Jaclyn Hill 2 years ago. I want to say I bought it then, and I played around with them slightly. I played around with two palettes. Two of them I haven't really touched, like Ring the Alarm. I really do like that one, but yeah, I'm just glad that I have it. All right, the next one is from Glamlight. This is the Viva Taco palette right here. Now, I have never played around with this on my channel. I don't remember why I didn't do it. I think I got it and I was intending to do a review and it just never ended up happening. But this is the eyeshadow palette right here. It is so freaking pretty. Like the Pico de Gallo and the Salsa Verde. Oh my gosh. And cilantro. I'm like the biggest fan of cilantro. Like I literally make Corey whenever he makes guacamole, put so much cilantro in there that he's like, okay, that's enough. But the shimmers, oof. All right, next we have the Glam Light Pizza palette. I'm sorry, but first off, can we talk about how amazing this packaging is? And then when you open it up, dun dun dun. When you open it up, this is how the eyeshadow palette looks. Now, I haven't really played around with this palette. I got it shortly after I got the miniature ones because I was like, oh, that's such a cool idea. I haven't really played around with it. I just got it and then just kind of went in my drawer, I think, just because life got in the way. But this is such a cool freaking palette. I love the theming of it. I just can't get over the way the packaging is designed. Like, you put it, like, seriously in a freaking pizza box. Like, how sick is that? I freaking love it. I love the cool design and concept. This is one, like, I definitely keep the like, for all the glam light stuff, I keep all the packaging because it's just so freaking cool. All right, so next we have the Jeffree Star collaboration with Morphe. I really do like this palette. I thought it was such a really pretty palette. I love the colors I created because everybody, when they did their reviews, they went for like the pinks and the oranges. I played around with the greens and the golds. I love the pressed glitter right here. Oh my god, this is like a perfect like pressed glitter. I mean, we don't need glitter glue. It just goes on so beautifully, and it has such a shine and pigment. I thought Jeffree did such a great job collaborating with this with Morphe, and I love this eyeshadow palette. Like 100%, I love it. All right, so next palette I got is a 3503 Fierce by Nature palette. This was once again sent to me by Mikey, and the only reason why he even sent this my way is because he got sent a second one by accident, so he sent it my way. I did play around with it. Definitely not wowing. It's pretty, but I really liked the Nervino one that was so much better than this one. Because I remember that was like a comparison when that had come out. Like, which one was better? The Nervino one was better than this one, in my personal opinion. Oh my god, I have so many palettes. Oh my god. All right, so this is the Jaclyn Hill palette. It's really dirty. I think this is like the second volume. I'm not entirely sure, but this is her palette right here. Looking at it now compared to her second one, I find this one to be rather boring, but I am grateful that I have it because I am a fan of Jaclyn Hill. I know despite everything that happened in my video that I did on her long ago, I've actually fallen back in love with her, especially when she just did that video with her boyfriend Jordan. I thought it was so cute. That's a Jaclyn that I had fallen in love with, so I'm so glad to see her slowly bouncing back, but I am glad I have this in my collection. Next one we have is the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. I really love this eyeshadow palette. It is so aesthetically pleasing. The shadows are so beautiful, and I feel like it doesn't translate well on camera as it does in person. The shadows in person are just so vibrant, and it's such a great palette. Jaclyn did such a good job with this. All right, next we have the Jawbreaker collection from Jeffree Star. I think this is such a beautiful palette. I love the theming. I love the colors. It's such a spring color palette. Like, you can create so many beautiful looks with it, especially these pastel colors. Such an aesthetically pleasing palette. I'm very, very much in love with this palette because it's just so beautiful overall. You can have dark colors, light colors. It's just so pretty. All right, next we have the 35H Hotspot palette from Morphe. I love this palette. I love the beautiful blue eye look that I used when I did this palette. I thought it was such a really fun, festive palette. Again, it's great for the summer, great for the spring, beautiful palette. All right, so next we have the Glam Light Burger palette. I actually just received this today in the mail. A couple days ago, Giselle, who is the owner of Glam Light, was posting about her was posting on Twitter about her content and how brand owners should really like advertise their makeup stuff on TikTok. And I just happened to comment in the video saying, oh my gosh, I really love all your stuff. The only thing I'm missing is the burger palette. She was so sweet. She DM'd me and said, well, here you go. I'm sending one over your way. And I was like, wait, what? Like, she literally said, yeah, go ahead and purchase it. I gave you a code. And so I was able to buy this palette for free. It covered shipping and everything. I was so blown away, and I was like, thank you so much. And she's like, you're very welcome. So I'm definitely be doing a review on this later on this week, but first off, look how freaking sick this is. Oh my god, it's so cool. It's so squishy like a burger. I just want to oh god, y'all know I'm gonna eat it. And then when you open it up, such a beautiful palette. It is so beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now I know that Teresa's Dead talked about this in her video, how she had a little bit of like oil residue right here, or it's probably just because of its burger, so it's gonna look oily. But either way, I'm excited to play around with this. It is such an aesthetically pleasing palette, and I just love the overall theme. I love the packaging. Like, oh my god, such a cool concept. All right, so I'm going to start stacking my eyeshadows together because I literally have so much shadow to go through that I feel like this video is going to be so long. So I'm going to try to condense it down just a little bit. But these are from ColourPop. This is the Just My Luck eyeshadow palette. This is the Strawberry Shake palette. And this is the Baby Got Peach palette. Out of the three, I really do love my Just My Luck eyeshadow palette. Unbelievably amazing. I love the look that I created. Baby Got Peach is very soft, very elegant. A look that I don't really typically go for. The Strawberry Shake, I thought it was okay. Definitely not one of my favorites at all. But overall, I love ColourPop. I love the aesthetics. I really love how they do their branding. I really love how they do their products because they're all $12 each for 9 shadows. It's fantastic. All right, so here we have some more ColourPop palettes. This is the Honey palette. This is the Orange You Glad palette, the Main Squeeze palette, the Lilac You Lock, and the Smoke Show eyeshadow palette. Out of all of them, these two are my absolute favorite. I'm obsessed with the Honey palette. I go back to it all the time and time again, and create all my yellow eye looks using that palette. And then for the Orange You Glad palette, such a like stunning palette. I love the oranges. Like seriously, like I'll never get over this right here. Such a beautiful color, even though it's a pressed glitter. Definitely not the best swatch, but I just love the theming of it. I love the colors of it. They're so beautiful. All right, so here we have the Blue Moon Shadow from ColourPop right here. This is a beautiful, beautiful palette. It's a great dupe to Jeffree Star Blue Blood. If you guys haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. I love this eyeshadow palette so, so much. It's right up there with the Orange You Glad and the Honey palette. Such a beautiful palette. All right, so next we have the I Heart Revolution. This is the Tasty Avocado palette, and this is the Pizza palette right here. I really, really loved both these palettes right here. When I first got this one in the mail, while I was filming the review, it came in completely shattered. Like literally these colors right here were completely shattered. I actually reached out to the company as I did the review, and they sent me a brand new one right away, which I was really, really, really pleased about. But the colors in here are so beautiful. They blended out so nicely. It has such pigmentation. I really do love this eyeshadow palette. As for the Pizza palette, I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I did, but I really, really love this eyeshadow palette. I love the look that I created, and I had so much fun in this video because I sing the Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza possibility. Like, I literally sang that whole song in that video. I probably annoyed a lot of people, but damn, this is such a good palette. All right, next we have the Fenty Beauty. This is the number 7 eyeshadow palette right here. I actually really love this palette. This is the Cadet palette. I created such a beautiful look when I used this palette. I created such a beautiful halo eye look using these 3 colors. I'm in love with this palette. It's a little bit on the pricier side for just 6 shadows, but damn, I love this palette. Next, we have the Natasha. Oh my god, I do have more Natasha Denona palettes. I didn't even realize that. This is the Mini Glam palette right here. This is a $25 palette for this little itty bitty thing. Definitely not worth the price point. While it's pretty, don't spend the money on $25 for this little itty bitty thing. Definitely not worth it. This is the Coffee Lover collection from Midas Cosmetics. One of the first things I actually tried from this brand. I really do like these little quads they have right here. Really beautiful theming. It may be in the basic packaging, but the quality of the shadows were really, really fantastic. Especially these pressed glitters. I had so much fun when I played around with these. And if you're any coffee lover, definitely check them out. All right, so right here we have the mini donut palettes from I Heart Revolution. This is the first time that I used I Heart Revolution was in these palettes right here, and I was so surprised because these palettes right here literally caused my channel to gain some subscribers. So I was so surprised about, because I did a battle of these 2 right here. I did an eye look, and I literally got like 10,000 views in that video. It's my first like hit video, like viral video, and I'll never forget that. And oh my gosh, it meant so much to me that I'll always have a special place in my heart for these eyeshadow palettes because they're so cute. Okay, so my camera just cut out on me and pretty much told me that I have been doing this for too long. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like a 3/4 of the way full, and I looked at Corey and I was like, holy shit, I have so many eyeshadow palettes. Like, I'm getting bored by myself. So I'm definitely gonna have to declutter some of these. And I might do a declutter video depending on how many I get rid of, but hot damn, do I have a lot of eyeshadows. Like, ooh, like I have a lot just for my own personal taste. Okay, so the next eyeshadow palette I have is the Naked Urban Decay Honey palette. I love this eyeshadow palette. I love this eyeshadow palette so, so much. I was really surprised at how amazing the quality of this eyeshadow palette is because Urban Decay really does make really shitty ass palettes. But this one right here was fantastic. I was so in love with this eyeshadow palette, and this is one I'll definitely keep gravitating back to and I'll never get rid of because the quality is just there. The colors are just there and the shimmers are beautiful, and I really, really hope that Urban Decay keeps up with this formulation, but I'm not holding my breath, so hopefully they do. But this right here, definitely where it's at. This eyeshadow palette is from Uma Beauty. This is the Black Magic palette. I love this eyeshadow palette so much. It is such a beautiful eyeshadow palette, and you can create such amazing looks with this. Like this color right here, Allure. I love it, along with like Mystical and then Enchantress. Oh my gosh. Like these are just so pretty. Obviously I have a like color scheme I like to go for, but oh my gosh, these are just so freaking pretty. I have the Lorac Unzipped Elegance palette. This is such a really pretty palette. I created such a simple look when I did this. So easy to follow, really beautiful. I love the brush that it came with, and I just think it's a really aesthetically pleasing palette. Very soft, very glam. Next we have then Kristen Dominique's or Dominique Cosmetics. This is the Lemonade palette right here. Such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful palette. When you open up, this is the shadows right here. Now, the only thing I'll ever notice about Dominique Cosmetics and their branding is that the DC never is straight. I always have 1 or 2 that's always crooked. I don't know why that is, but I really do love this eyeshadow palette. And one of the coolest things about this eyeshadow palette is that I got sent a second one because the crushed pearls they used to make these pigments right here, apparently they were having issues and it was causing people to have trouble with the formulation on when it came to blending and putting on your eye. So they ended up sending everybody a brand new palette, which I thought was amazing, 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 amazing. The next one is the Berries and Creams from Dominique cosmetic, and my sister actually got this for Christmas for me last year, and I did a really okay look. Definitely not one of my best, but I was really surprised that she got this for me because she knew who Dominique Cosmetics was. And I was like, how did you know? And she's like, well, I actually watched your videos and you said you're missing this. So I was really grateful that she sent this my way. All right, next we have another Dominique Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. This is the Celestial Storm eyeshadow palette. First off, the packaging is so stunning. I love the packaging. It's very, very cohesive with all the other palettes. And then when you open it up, it is such a beautiful eyeshadow palette. Like, the colors are just there. I love the color Lunar Eclipse and Stormy Dust. So unbelievable, along with the Turtle Light. These two right here, they have a duochrome effect to them. Oh my god, I love this palette. And then they ended up putting up a half one in like the Celestial Storm inside the BoxyCharm palette. I did give that away to a subscriber because I already had this palette, but such a really like amazing palette. I think one of her best ones she has to date. One of my favorite ones from her collection too. All right, next we have the Milani. This is the Most Wanted eyeshadow palette. This I think was $9 off of Ulta when I got it a while back. Really pretty palette. I don't really have too much to say other than it's really pretty. The shadows perform well and the shimmers are great. Clearly though, I have a type. All right, next I have the Laura Lee. This is a cat pajamas palette. Now when I got this, I didn't even have a YouTube channel. I was just getting into the YouTube realm, and she's one of the first people that I watched besides Robert E. Christie and Jaclyn Hill. She's like one of the top 3. I saw that she was rolling out with this. It's one of the first YouTuber palettes I've ever bought. I was very, very underwhelmed when I got this palette. She made it look so beautiful. I played around with it enough that I know how it works, but it doesn't make sense. Like, you look at the packaging, the outside and the inside, it just never was cohesive at all. So this is one that I definitely don't go towards at all anymore, but I'm happy that I have it. Like, I'm a supporter of her, and I'll support anybody's dreams, and you know, good for her for having this, but definitely not one that I gravitate to at all anymore. Next I have the Norvina eyeshadow palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I got this when I was on my YouTube break, so I didn't ever play around with it and like film it for camera, but I did play around with it on its own, and it's a really pretty neutral eye palette, one that I don't really gravitate to that much anymore just because I'm not the biggest fan of neutrals, but still really pretty palette. And I love the little velvet case. It's just so soft. All right, next is the Soft Glam eyeshadow palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I got this a while back, and it's one of my 3rd or 4th videos on my channel, and it's a cool palette. Looking at it now compared to how I was back then, I was so in love with this back then, but looking at it now, I've definitely grown since then. But it's a really pretty palette, definitely a nude palette, one that's they did such a great quality when it came to the mattes and the shimmers. Ooh, next we have the Carly Bible palette. This is from the ABH. This is a collab that she did with them, and this palette, I think the packaging is really, really cool. The shadows on the inside, they are pretty, but they are very underwhelming. And I got a lot of hate in this video. For one, because I didn't fully know her name. Carly Bible, that's what I said. And people just had issues because I wasn't 100% sure. I should fact check myself. But you know what? Like, hey, I'm human. I make mistakes. But I said that the shadows could be found in other palettes. And I still stand by that. While it's pretty and I understand people want to support her, I can definitely back you up on that. I definitely still feel like you can find these shadows in other palettes. And I'm happy that I have it here because I'm obviously a hoarder, clearly, but definitely I didn't think it was a very overwhelming palette. I thought it was kind of underwhelming and one that I don't gravitate to that often. Ooh, this is the Smoke Session palettes from Milk Cosmetic. I really, really love this eyeshadow palette right here. I love it. Like, clearly these are my colors. Like, I love, again, how they line them up. And I did a video on this. It was a horrible video. My audio was just off. I didn't realize my audio was off. I was sick, and I told a story about me getting high. I could link it up here if you guys want to see it, but I hated the eye look that I did. It was so embarrassing, and it's one I definitely like to go back and revisit for sure. But that eyeshadow palette alone, absolutely fantastic. I love the eyeshadow palette so much. So pretty. Definitely my second favorite from Milk Cosmetics, 100%. Next, we have the Radioactive palette from Milk Cosmetics. You guys can tell I'm obsessed with Milk Cosmetics, but this is the eyeshadow palette right here. I love the look that I created. I thought it was so aesthetically pleasing, so beautiful. And again, the color scheme is just there. The mattes are just there. It blends out so well, and I just really love the aesthetics of this entire palette. So beautiful. All right, here we have my favorite palette of all times when it comes to Milk Cosmetics. This is my absolute favorite palette, like hands down. Like, seriously, when you open it up, like, oh my god, it has like the mustard yellows, the greens, a little bit of the oranges. Like, this is seriously such a beautiful palette. I first discovered them when Robert E. Christie did a review on this a long time ago. I got it right after. I created such a beautiful look, and I'm just so obsessed with this. This is my favorite favorite one from them. And if you guys were to ever get any palette from Melt Cosmetics, Gemini is the way to go. I talk about this palette like literally to all my friends. I tell my friends to get this. Like you'll never be disappointed. This is like the best one from Melt Cosmetics, hands down. Another palette is the Laura Lee Nudie Patootie palette. I really do like the name of that. This is the eyeshadow palette right here. And then on the inside, we do have it right here. Again, this is a very neutral eye palette. This is one of the last ones I picked up from her and one of the last things I got from her brand. I found this to be kind of very similar to her cat's pajamas, very nudie, very basic, and it's pretty, but one I don't really gravitate to that often, so it's why I kind of stayed away from the brand ever since then. I think if she would come up with something really creative, I might want to go back, but yeah. All right, so this is the Living in Color Hank and Henry palette. Mikey actually sent this one my way, and it actually has a signed copy right here from Hank and Henry, which I thought was so cool. He got a second one, or he won it from like a contest. And they did actually put this palette inside BoxyCharm, so now it's in there as well. It's a pretty palette. I do think it's kind of boring when it comes to the color scheme, but I was really grateful to get it. And I just really hated how much spaces they put between. I feel like they could have put a lot more shadows for the price point of the palette. All right, next we have the Mini Jawbreaker palette. This was actually bought for me from my wonderful fiance, and it's a pretty palette, but it's just one I don't really go for that often anymore. And it's actually so funny, they put this in almost every single mystery box at this point, so I've probably gotten like 4 of these all together and have given them away, but I'm still happy that I have it because it helps complete the collection. Then I have the NARS Ignited Eyeshadow palette. I remember I spent a lot of money on it, and I remember being kind of disappointed with how the shadows turned out because the shimmers weren't as pigmented as I thought they were going to be. Like, they're pretty, but they're just very, very lackluster when I played around with it. So I paid a hefty penny for it not to be very happy with this. That's why I haven't really gone back to it ever since. So this is the Oh My Gorge eyeshadow palette from Morphe. This is the 9G. This is a really pretty palette. It did come in BoxyCharm, so it was included in there. That was not sent in PR at that time, but it's a really pretty neutral eye palette, and yeah. Okay, so here we have 2 more ColourPop palettes. This is the Just My Pleasure eyeshadow palette and the Going Coconuts from ColourPop. I really do like these 2 eyeshadow palettes. This is the neutral eyeshadow palette I tell you guys all the time to get. It's only $12. It's fantastic, and it creates a beautiful nude eye look. And then this is the Just My palette. Then this is Just My Pleasure. I really, really love this purple theme. I think shadows are so beautiful. They're so pigmented, and damn, do they blend very well. This is what made me fall in love with ColourPop back in the day. This is the Tarte. This is the Rainforest of the Sea Volume 3 palette. I was actually sent this in my BoxyCharm box. It's one of the first palettes I ever received in BoxyCharm when I first signed up. So I was like, oh my god, this is so pretty. It's pretty much just an all shimmer palette, so you can create a pretty look, but it's just very, very muted out at this point because it's all shimmer, so it's pretty, but not one I really go back to anymore. Oh my gosh, so here we have Too Faced Life's a Festo palette. I really love this eyeshadow palette. It's probably why I won't get rid of it. I love the color scheme. I love the shadows. They perform so well. The shimmers are so beautiful, and I just really love the look I created when I use this palette. Like this right here, it looks like it'd be like a white highlight. No, it has a purple undertone, so it's like a duochrome shift between purple and white. So pretty, and I'll always hold on to this because how much I love this palette. Here we have another Too Faced neutral eyeshadow palette right here, and this is how the palette looks. I would definitely say Too Faced's palette smells so good. I'll have to give them that. But this is just a really pretty basic neutral eyeshadow palette. You can create some beautiful looks with it. Here we have the Natasha Denona, the Mini Gold palette. I don't have anything other to say than I should not have spent $25 on it. Alright, so here we have the Marvelous Mauves from Dose of Color. This actually came in a BoxyCharm box a while back. Beautiful colors, all matte, which I really, really love that theme of it. I always lose the brushes on the inside. I never know where they go, but this was a really pretty palette. Alright, so here we have the Sweet Top palette from ColourPop. This is such a beautiful eyeshadow palette. I really, really loved playing with this eyeshadow palette, especially this color right here. You guys can tell I digged into it so much. It was so pretty. It's hard to show up on camera like that, but as a topper, unbelievably gorgeous, especially when you mix it with Dreammaker right here and with Meadow. Such a pretty palette. Such a pretty palette. All right, so here we have the Disney Villains Misunderstood eyeshadow palette. This was such a hassle to get my hands on. When I ordered this entire collection, I got somebody else's order beside myself, and it took forever for ColourPop to respond back to me and to get me the correct order. So by the time I got this, I was not really that excited about it, and it was a really pretty palette, one that I don't really go for that often because they made me wait for so long I lost interest. While the colors perform very well, it's just not my favorite from ColourPop. Alright, so here we have the Disney Designer Collection. This is the Midnight Masquerade eyeshadow palette. I love this eyeshadow palette. I love the theming of it. Disney Princess, that is so pretty. I love the looks I created. I'm not the biggest fan of ColourPop's pressed glitter. I've been very vocal about that. It's just not the best quality, but the eyeshadows themselves were so pretty and I had a lot of fun with this palette. Right, next we have the Good as Gold from ColourPop. This is a really aesthetically pleasing eyeshadow palette. I'm really happy that I got it. I had a lot of fun with it. These colors right here, these golds, were so pretty to play around with. You can see a little bit of separation right there. Such a really pretty palette. Here we have the Kylie Cosmetics. This is just the Kylie Jenner palette. It just says Kylie. This is the one and only palette I actually own from Kylie Cosmetics. It's really pretty. I remember really loving this color, Can I Keep You, right here. So pretty. Oh yeah, such a beautiful color. And this one right here, this is Be Pacific. Such a beautiful eyeshadow palette. I actually really like this one. Alright, so right here we have the Tarte Cosmetics Life is a Mermaid palette. I really love this eyeshadow palette. I'll always hold on to it. It's such a really cool palette. It reminds me of Ariel, and I just think it was so unique. Really love this palette. Then we have another Tarte palette. This is the Love, Trust, and Fairy Dust palette right here. Very beautiful. I love the way it smells. It's a very neutral eye palette. Nothing wrong with that. I just think it's so pretty. Alright, so this is the Temptress palette from Alter Ego. I actually did a review on this one when I battled it against the Sultry eyeshadow palette from ABH. I think they look almost the exact same, and I was actually sent this in PR, so thank you guys so much, Alter Ego, for sending this my way. Really great quality. Performs just as well as the ABH quality does. Here we have another one that was sent to me in PR. This is from the Daydream collection. This is a dupe of the Huda Beauty Nude palette. This is a pretty palette, not one of my favorites from Alter Ego. I found the shadows right here to be just a little lackluster. I had to really build them up to get the color that I wanted. I haven't played with the Huda Beauty one, but I do like this one, just definitely not my favorite. Ooh, next we have the Goddess palette. I love this palette so much. I'm so in love with this eyeshadow palette. I think it's such a beautiful eyeshadow palette. You could definitely see it's used and abused for sure. This is in comparison to the Natasha Denona Gold palette, I believe, and I love this palette so much. It's only $16. Definitely worth it. If you guys get a chance to check this out, please do. I do have a code with them. It's code Dawson10, which will save you guys 10% off your purchase. It is affiliate code, so I do make a small commission, but you guys don't have to use the code. I just wanted to make sure that I tell you guys in case you guys want to save some money. But yes, definitely worth the price. Here we have the Sahara palette right here. I haven't had a chance to play around with this one yet. It is a really pretty palette, very neutral, but it looks really like a fun little date night palette or something you could wear every single day to work. Here we have the Aurora palette. This is in the dupe to the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. I absolutely love this eyeshadow palette right here. It is so beautiful. It performed so well, so much better than Natasha Denona did, and I absolutely love this eyeshadow palette. Definitely worth your buck. I have the Gimme Glow Juicy Olive palette. A subscriber actually told me to get this, so I actually got it because of her, and oh my god, I was not disappointed. This is an amazing green eyeshadow palette. If you guys ever want to just have like a green eyeshadow palette, this is the way to go. The colors perform so well. They blend so beautifully and they're so pigmented. Oh my god, I absolutely love this eyeshadow palette so much. Alright, so here we have the Pat McGrath's Mothership Seminole palette. I think I'm saying that right. My sister actually got this for me for Christmas 2 years ago, and oh my gosh, I have got to say how beautiful this eyeshadow palette is. It's very, very expensive, so I was so surprised she got me a Pat McGrath palette. It's the only one I own from this brand because they're so expensive, but I'm so beyond grateful that she got this for me. I love it so much. Thank you so much, Daisy. This is the Huda Beauty Desert Dust eyeshadow palette. It's one of the first luxurious palettes I actually bought for myself. I played around with it once when I bought it, and I haven't really played around with it since because it's so beautiful. It cost me so much money at the time to buy it, and I was so proud of myself for actually spending the money on myself that I just kind of played around with it. This is before I had a YouTube career or anything like that, so I'm beyond grateful that I have this, and I really just cherished it very, very well. Next, we have the Dominique Cosmetics. This is the Latte 2 palette. I received this in a Trend Mood box that she did, and I love this palette. I love the aesthetics. I love the theme. It's really beautiful. I really love the color Frappe right there. These ones were actually my favorite to play around with. They're very pastel colors, but they're so easy to blend. Damn, it's still a really good palette. Next, we have the little miniature Dominique Cosmetics. This is Sweater Weather. I always get tongue-tied. I received this in my Ipsy box, I want to say like a month or two ago. Really pretty. Helps to complete my collection. Then I have the Rustic Glam from Dominique Cosmetics. A subscriber actually sent this my way because she knew I was missing this for my collection, so she wanted to make sure I got my hands on it. And I was so beyond grateful that she sent this to me because it really just completes my entire collection. It is so freaking pretty. I love the one right here, Dreamcatcher. I love it along with Evil Eye. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Then we have the Dominique Cosmetics Latte palette. This is the OG, one of like the second videos I did on my channel. Oh my gosh, I love this eyeshadow palette so much. I had nothing but amazing things to say about it. It's one of my favorite ones from the brand. Such a really good, high quality eyeshadow palette. I just don't like that it's white because you could clearly see how dirty it gets very easily. The next one I have is the Blood Sugar palette from Jeffree Star. I did not purchase this palette for myself. Paige actually bought it for me. We went to the last Morphe launch. She said, I know you're missing this from your collection, so I want to make sure you get your hands on it. So she actually purchased this for me. I was so surprised. I could not believe the generosity that she presented to me. So I'm so grateful, so humbled. And this is such a beautiful palette. It's so freaking pretty. And it's definitely not my colors I usually go for, but you guys have been asking me to do more reds and pinks. So this is what I'd be playing around with it to get that look down for sure. Now this is my absolute favorite palette from Jeffree Star Cosmetics. I love the Blue Blood palette. I think it is so pretty. I love the aesthetics. I love the theming. When you open it up, the colors are just so beautiful. And I really, really love the eye look that I did when I did this eyeshadow palette. Such a pretty palette. My favorite one from the entire collection. I'm just, oh my God, I can never get enough of this. Last but not least, we have my favorite eyeshadow palette of all time. This is my absolute favorite eyeshadow palette. You can definitely see how used it is. This is the Tati Beauty Volume 1 eyeshadow palette, and oh my gosh, I have got to say, like literally I have played around with this eyeshadow palette so much. I love this more than anything. The pressed glitters are the best pressed glitters I have ever played with. Seriously, and I really don't like nude colors. I really don't like neutral palettes, but this one right here, I definitely made an exception for because just the quality's there. Like you literally have 4 different themes. You can do the glitters, the metallics, the sequins, and the mattes. You can literally mix and match them. The best eyeshadow palette, and that's why I was so disappointed when Tati rolled out with the Beauty Blender and not another eyeshadow palette. So I hope another one comes soon, but this is by far my favorite eyeshadow palette of all time. All right, so that definitely wraps up my eyeshadow palette. I do actually have a few palettes sitting right behind me, but I'm waiting to review them because they're all sent to me from subscribers and I cannot thank them enough. But I don't want to feature that in here until I actually play around with it because it was just a surprise and I got it today and yesterday, so I haven't even like really opened them yet, and I'm just waiting for this week. But I literally am surrounded by eyeshadow palettes right now, and I realized I have a problem, and I definitely need to declutter some of this because this is a lot of eyeshadows, and I was getting annoyed with myself for how long this is. I'm like, God damn, Allie, you have so much. But like I said, I worked really, really hard to get all the eyeshadow palettes you guys see right here. A lot of them I bought myself. A few I got in PR. A few I got from wonderful friends and subscribers. But for the majority of them, I literally paid with my hard-earned money, and they were definitely worth every single bit. Yeah, that is it for today's video, guys. If you guys like this video, please make sure you guys give this video a cheeky thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already, because I do post 3 to 4, well, almost every single day at this point. Also, make sure you guys head on over to my other channel. It is Our Florida Life. You guys can see my cool, wonderful adventures, amazing fiance Corey. And as always, guys, I want to thank you guys for all your love and support. I'll see you guys for your next video. Bye.